Welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm Gina.
And I'm Evo.
Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday.
Evo and I are both not drinking this Friday. And I'm not drinking because I'm currently on a non-drinking journey for quite a while. I have been looking into some non-alcoholic options. However, Evo's not drinking because we don't got nothing to drink in the house.
I mean, we got stuff to drink. I just decided to join you, and I'm supporting you on this journey of yours. You know, that's what husbands are supposed to do. You know, ride or die, right? Like, that's what we signed up for.
Already starting the bullshit.
I'm here for you.
Which actually is very fitting for our topic this evening, which is the secrets that husbands and wives keep from each other. And when I posed this topic to Eva at first, he was like, I don't know if I really, what kind of secrets are there? Because I think your immediate thought was some of like the big secrets.
No. So my immediate thought was like, secrets, like things that you just don't tell your wife. Like, I mean, listen, I'm sure there's clearly things that you don't tell me and things that I don't tell you, but those are things that merit not to be told, I think.
So I would like to say that I think there's a difference between not telling and keeping it a secret.
Correct. Right. So,
which means I've done something and I'm being secretive about it. But if I choose just not to tell you something, it's not necessarily a secret. I'm just choosing not to speak about it. I feel like they're kind of different.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even so, all right. I feel like that there are secrets that men do keep. But again, they're not that deep. Once I started researching this and looking into actual research, I started researching this and looking into secrets that men keep from their wives. I found some of the stuff to be a little disturbing.
Oh, of course. Because, what men don't do disturbing ass shit.
It just it made the stuff that I was thinking about look minuscule in comparison to some of the stuff. And granted, what I found in my research, it's like some really serious stuff, and it does exist. And, once I read it, I was like, wow, yes, I see it. I've heard about this. I just, it's not stuff that was like immediately in my mind to like come up and like, as soon as we started talking about it, they're like, oh yeah, I know I got this, because it's just not part of my life. I really had to look into it. And then that was an eye opener.
All right. So then why don't you start off by telling us what is one of the secrets that men will keep from women?
All right.
Excuse me. What are one of the secrets that husbands will keep from wives?
So one of the
oh no.
One of the secrets that husbands will keep from their wives, and this is one that this immediately came to mind to me, was secret hobbies and what they spend on their secret hobbies.
Okay.
And particularly car parts. I know quite a few guys, married men, that have spent an insane amount of money on car parts, and their wives have no idea what it cost.
I laughed so hard when you said that, because I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about. So, and funny thing, there's an actual trend on social media going on about this, where I haven't found the original one. I've been looking for the original one, but it starts off where there's a girl asking her significant other, which is a guy, how much was it? And he's like, babe, they gave it to me. And she's like, no, they didn't. How much was it? He's like, babe, they gave it to me. And she's like, nobody's going to give you something like that. He's like, but they gave it to me. And so many people have been like using that recording and showing like some of their most expensive toys, this one guy, he's like, his wife's or somebody's recording him like unpack the just most ginormous speakers that he's gonna put in a car. Obviously, like he's like one of those sound systems, and you could just imagine, the girl voice going, how much was it? And he's like, they gave it to me. And there's just so many of them, and so it's a real thing. Like, honestly, guys can go off the edge when it comes to spending on car parts, because it's a hobby, and guys are passionate about cars, and I think that a lot of men really like that wow factor. They like getting that wow factor, so they'll kind of, in cars, really does it. When you spend a lot of money and time and put passion into a vehicle to present it, it's all about the wow factor. And I think that's the main reason why men do it. I was guilty of this at one point in my life.
Really?
Not no more. You see where my car is, and you see where it's been.
Well, but that's because of unfortunate events. But I think if that did not happen, and this is like a sidebar conversation, but if the journey that your car took didn't happen, I don't think that you wouldn't. I think you would be spending money on car parts still.
No, she was pretty much complete as she was.
Okay.
It was, so like for those of you who don't know, I ended up taking the engine out of my car to do some serious like wire tucking and cleaning up of the engine bay. Everything else was done in my car, and the person that I sent it to just sat on it for a long time. We're talking about this thing dragged out for years, and then my priorities shifted in life. We ended up buying a house, and so then once I finally got the car back, there was just so many other things that I was dealing with that became more of a priority, that the car kind of just took
the backseat.
I kind of shelved it. But prior to that, it really took a life of its own, and like once it really started to like take shape and really people started to notice it, and I started to get these reactions from people in a positive way, and then I started to like dive into like rare parts, and I started seeking out like things that you couldn't find, ultra rare parts, so that I could put it on my car.
Japanese parts specifically.
JDM Japanese parts that were super rare, so that I could put them on my car. So the next time I went to a car show, it was even more of a wow factor.
Yeah.
And I feel like that comes from, at least for me, I'm speaking for me. I don't know. I don't want to just throw this out in front of, for everybody. But I feel like for me, that came from needing gratification from other people to acknowledge my accomplishments. And so it was like a vicious chase cycle where I kept needing to acquire more and more things from my car to make it look really nice, so that I can get acknowledgement from other people. And that would, for me, that validated my success. And at some point in my life, I stopped associating those two. I stopped needing other people's validation for my accomplishments in order for me to like, feel like I was successful.
Yeah. And
that was one of the main reasons the car kind of took a backseat to, I shelved the car too, because it just stopped being such a big priority. I didn't need that anymore. Yeah. And so, but I feel like that's a huge part of why men do that.
Luckily, Evil had a wife that totally was also a car enthusiast that could appreciate his vehicle. So I really didn't have any problems with you making any alterations to your car, especially the car that you had, because I had a love for that car, because I once also had the same car and also hooked it up. And so I never really feel like you had to hide from me, but it wasn't really necessarily a constant it wasn't a conversation. I trusted you with money. I also feel like you were responsible in the purchases that you made. Yeah. And I understood the vision of your car. I always understood the vision of your car. I will say that I think you and I have a little bit of a connected brain in that way, where we kind of like our cars to look the same. Not so much now, but back then we did. So I completely understood where you were going with it. Yeah. So it was never a cause for concern between us.
Definitely pretty supportive, and that was very helpful.
However, though, what I think is hilarious about that is something that I like to throw in men's faces when they like to talk shit about women buying stuff. I can't tell you how many times when I used to work in the makeup world in retail, men would come in with their women and they would make comments about like, I don't know why y'all women like this stuff. And I would say shit like, you don't spend money on your car? You don't buy video games? And the men would just look at me and, okay, buddy, because I got you right there. So women spend their money on, certain items, and men like to spend their money on certain items. So let's not throw shade on the other person or the other sex, or the opposite sex rather, because of the items they like to purchase. What's fucking second hilarious about that is that goes right into one of the first things that women like to hide from men, and it's how much money they spend. And it's not specifically a particular item that we spend money on. It's just how we choose to spend money. You have a lot of women that are either career women or stay-at-home moms. So how they maneuver their money tends to be very different in those aspects, because I feel like I can speak to both, because I was a career woman where I worked a lot and I wasn't a stay-at-home mom at all. But I had a little bit of a portion where I was a stay-at-home mom throughout my life. And now I kind of balance being at home and my career. So I understand this why we choose to conceal money. So from my understanding, about half of the women that are married will do this. They will hide how much money they spend on clothing, makeup, jewelry, clothing for their children, things for the house.
It just sounds like car parts. All I keep hearing is car parts. Car parts.
Well, okay. So the reason why I said it's a little bit different when it comes to like a working wife versus a stay-at-home wife is a stay-at-home mom or wife sometimes can be reluctant to ask her husband for money to purchase things that the husband may see as frivolous.
So this is a kind of a situation where you have joint finances, right? Or is it not a situation where, is it a situation where, because when you're saying the woman is asking the man for money, and she's a stay-at-home mom, that means does that mean that their finances are separate and she has to ask him for money?
It means that there potentially is both, that they have joint finances and they have separate finances. So for managing the household, their finances are together.
Yeah.
So the wife has access to the finances to pay bills, buy food, pay the mortgage, whatever it is. But when it comes to her extracurricular activities or her own purchases for clothing, accessories, hair, whatever it is, she may have her own account for that. And money is put into that account for her either by the husband, or maybe she has something small that she's doing on the side
hustle.
Yeah. Excuse me. Or she could she could have had money from a past job that she saved. Whatever the case is, she may have somewhat of her own funds.
Okay.
And this is where the money and the purchasing gets concealed, on how much something costs. Because if a husband is managing the household and the wife is going out and buying a $300 pair of shoes, and he is the primary breadwinner, she may almost feel guilty making that large of a purchase, when in her mind she feels like she's not contributing.
But I mean, if that purchase comes out of her side money or whatever, what does I feel like, what does it matter?
Okay, I agree with you on that.
Right.
So, but there's a little bit of guilt behind it. So the guilt is that if she's not working and she's not putting money into caring for the home, which is paying the mortgage, the utilities and food, then she may feel guilty about spending money on herself.
I mean, I feel like that's purely perspective. I mean, it is purely a thing of perspective, because to me, time is money. And she's putting in her time. So therefore, that time if she was not putting it in the way that she was to the house and the children and all that stuff, she could be exchanging that time for actual money at a job. So if she's sacrificing a career to spend her time, then she should be able to spend her little bit of money that she has that's separate from the bills and all that, the house money, the way that she pleases.
I fucking agree with you on that.
I mean, come on.
But that's in a perfect world, right? That would mean that the dynamic between the husband and wife works that way. Where the husband is going to 100% value his wife's time in the household. And you and I both know, we've actually had conversations about this, how men are not appreciating and valuing their wives that stay at home. They're actually looking at them as if they do less. That the work that they do at home with the children and taking care of the house is not as valuable. So that's why I say it's like in a perfect world. So this is part of the reason why wives sometimes, if the dynamic is, somewhat off, she may conceal. But on another note, let's say it's a working wife, right? A woman that has an excess amount of money. I've been in that situation. where we spend a lot of money on clothes. And one of the reasons why women tend to spend more money than men on clothes has to do a lot with the constant change of women's clothing styles. That's one of the things that I will always envy about men's clothing. It has a very consistent feel throughout decades. Jeans, t-shirt, suit, tie. You know, it doesn't really stray too much from that. Maybe the cut changes, you know, slightly, but I can't tell you how many times from season to season something will change in a woman's clothing, that when she then goes out to an event, she has a work thing, or she's hanging out with her girlfriends, that if she doesn't have a piece of clothing that, I don't know, that's on trend or, you know, in fashion, she may then feel the need to want to go out and buy something new.
You know, as I sit here and listen to you, I can only wonder, and I truly don't know the answer to this question, why is it that women are the targets of this fashion turnover?
Well, I can give you a little bit of insight to that. It has to do, women have a lot of buying power. I remember actually when I was in college, you know, I have a degree in business, and we had to do a little bit of research into the buying power of different sexes, different sectors of age.
Okay.
So women in particular age ranges have a lot of buying power.
How so, though?
Women tend to shop more than men. So that's why a lot of these things are targeted towards them.
Right. I get that. Women tend to shop more than men. But why is it that women shop more than men?
Because women will also be shopping for men. Men will put other things in that place. Can I give you an example?
Okay.
Let's say the husband and wife are invited to, or their child is invited to a birthday party for a child. Who do you think primarily is going out and buying the gift for the kid's birthday party?
No, I get that part. I get that portion.
That's
what I'm referring to is that you're saying that women's styles change so much and men's styles really don't.
I'm not saying that they don't. I wouldn't say as much.
Right. So why is it that women's styles has been the target of such a high rate of turnover that in turn it causes women to have to go out and constantly shop for clothing and changes of fashion? You know, why? To me, like, I'm wondering, why is that? Why is it that doesn't exist amongst men? Is it that men are not as responsive to the change of styles? Is it that men are more likely to just not really care about changing styles than women do? Well, and that's why
the only thing that I can think of that comes to mind is something that I quoted last week is women tend to care more about how they are perceived in society, where men are more concerned about their intellect and their finances. Okay. So the way that a man dresses potentially is not as important to him. So if a woman is potentially concerned about her how she is perceived in society, clothing is part of that perception.
And do you feel like it has something to do with the fact that as from a young age, even not only from a young age but just historically speaking, girls were raised to be very aware on how they were being presented to the people around them, and particularly to a future husband?
I mean, yes, but I feel like this is kind of taking the conversation.
What I mean is that being said, because it's something that's embedded in in a child as a young age, where they're constantly having to worry about how they look, and you know, so when something changes and you want to be up with the trend and you're concerned on how you look, then you're going to react to jump on that trend. Yeah.
And because a man potentially cannot understand that at the depth, you know, even though now we just had this conversation and maybe you understand it a little bit more.
Yeah, now it definitely makes more sense now.
Women will tend to conceal how much money they spend on clothing. For sure. I think that is the number one thing. I myself have done it, but then I admitted it to you like sometime down the road. I think I bought a pair of boots. Actually, I got a pair of boots that I spent a lot of money on. And I felt at that time, And it was funny because I don't even think we were married at the time. And I just didn't tell you how much they were. I think I just told you that someone gave them to me. And I don't remember exactly why I concealed it. I just felt like maybe it was something of a very high price point that I don't know that
maybe you didn't know how I would react to it.
Yeah. And then later on down the line, I think, I was just like, by the way, I chose not to tell you this. I'm not even sure why I did that, but I actually thought it was kind of funny at that time. I was like, I was a fucking idiot to even think that I ever needed to do that from you, conceal something like. But I know a lot of wives that will do it, and it's somewhat of a joke amongst women. We'll be like, do you just leave the shit in the trunk and then wait till he goes to work and then just bring it in the house and then sort it into your fucking clothes, and then one day just pull it out and be like, I had this for a long time. I don't know what you're talking about. Ladies, please don't act like you don't do that.
Hey, listen, man. That's how you guys. Well, that's how you gals maneuver your way around it. That's how you keep it a secret. Therefore, this is one of the secrets that wives keep from their husbands.
Luckily, it's like a lighthearted secret. I kind of feel like
I don't think some men probably won't take that lightheartedly.
Well, listen, if you got like a shopping problem, if you're going out and fucking, putting your family into debt for buying, items of clothing and things for the house, then I can understand that. But if you're getting a dress here and there, a pair of shoes here and there, and you're kind of just stuffing them in your closet and nobody knows, I don't really think that this is so bad.
You know what's interesting is that out of the stuff that you do buy,
you're talking about me?
Yeah.
Okay.
The ones that you end up spending more money on are usually the ones that you get the most use out of.
Funny, those boots, I still have them. I think they were like a little over $400, and I've had those boots over a decade, and I literally wore them, I don't know, like the other day.
Yeah, and then like the stuff that you don't spend a lot of money on that you get. I mean, you're a bargain shopper to begin with, which is great. But I feel like some of the stuff that you do get at a bargain or didn't cost a lot of money, that stuff is really it's easily disposable.
Yes.
That's you'll go out and.
Well, that's fast fashion, and I've kind of learned that. Fast fashion is just that. It goes so fucking fast. So you buy a piece of clothing, and then the next season or say for example, we're in 2022, whatever you bought in 2021, that shit is not gonna look good. Depending on if you're following fashion, depending on if you're following trend, that's really up to you. Some people don't give a shit about that. I've learned that you can buy pieces of clothing that are a little bit more of a better quality or thrifting, and it will last you so much longer. I also feel like if you understand your own unique style, you can really just transcend that overall. It's not the easiest thing to do. It doesn't really come naturally to everyone. But so that's definitely something that us women like to do. I'm fucking guilty of it. I know a lot of my girlfriends are, and I'm sorry if I'm if I'm putting our fucking shit on Front Street.
You know what? I was thinking the same thing as I was going through this list. I'm like, man, I don't know. I might be getting myself in some type of trouble here, airing out these secrets like this. I might have the boys coming for me over here on social media.
So what else is it?
What else is new, right? So, all right. It wasn't too bad. I don't think.
No. I honestly don't really think any of the ones that I have are really horrific.
But I feel like that one can get bad in a certain situation.
Yes.
If it's to get out of control.
Correct.
So this one is a little thick right here. But listen, I can't say that, it's a secret per se, but it's a secret when it's happening.
Okay.
And one of the things that men keep secret from their wives is imagining someone else during sex.
Oh, yikes.
And so looking into this, I found out that men do it as a coping mechanism for a number of reasons. So men will do it as a coping mechanism for monogamy, to kind of like fight temptation and things like that, not act on temptations. They might imagine them having sex with another woman while they're sleeping with their wife, but it may be something that's unattainable, like a celebrity, maybe like a porn star, their favorite porn star, something like that. Things that they just really can't act out on.
Okay.
But they fantasize about it, and it's just, I guess that's how they cope with. And
I feel like you're trying to tread so lightly right now, and I'm just wondering why.
All right, so there's that, and then there's also the side of where it's not something that's unattainable. Mm-hmm. They're fantasizing about their neighbor, or they're fantasizing about the wife's sister or a cousin, or or maybe even a man. Mm-hmm. And that kind of like falls into the category of being an issue, because yeah, no,
I like how you said it kind of.
It kind of does, because I mean, like, if you're fantasizing, fantasizing about, like, come on, listen, if you're fantasizing about sleeping with your sister's wife, with your wife's sister, right? If you're fantasizing about sleeping with your wife's sister while you're having sex with her, I think that's a problem. You got a problem there.
I think if you're fantasizing about being with anyone other than your, I completely understand the celebrity thing. Someone that's really unattainable, I completely understand that, because that's almost like me fantasizing about a pair of $1,000. Like, there's a Prada bag that I want right now that I fantasize about. Yeah,
but listen, we're talking about in while having sex.
I mean,
really? Wow.
No, I'm just joking. It's just
wow.
Imagine that, right?
I'm listening.
No, it's just I'm 100% joking, but what I'm saying is I can understand that fantasizing about something that is completely out of reach.
Yes.
But
we're talking about while having sex, though.
I understand that. So I'm saying I even understand it then. I understand the celebrity part of it. But for you to say that it's kind of a problem when you're fantasizing about someone's sister, brother, mother, whatever the fuck it is, that is definitely a fucking problem, Evo.
Yeah, it's a big problem, and, at that point you may want to seek counseling. Because, you got some issues. Maybe you married the wrong person. I like you picked the wrong one. I don't know what happened.
Honestly, maybe,
Evo, the bottle landed on the wrong person, or spin the bottle.
I don't know if it's that they married the wrong person. Temptation is a motherfucker.
Yeah, temptation is a motherfucker, and
people change. You and I have been together. It's close. Well, we've been together almost 20 years at this point. You know what I mean? I've known you for longer than 20 years, but together, like, we're close to 20 years. We have changed
most
significantly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Over the last 2 decades. So to say that someone that maybe has been with, their partner that long, to say that they married the wrong person, I don't know if that's it. It's just that they could have changed.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I hear you.
But if it's happened in the first year, maybe you married the wrong person.
I've had to imagine, like, things that will distract me from coming. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I've done that. Like, it's just.
Oh yeah, I know.
I'm too deep into. I'm too deep in the woods, and it's getting crazy. And now I gotta imagine myself like falling off a cliff or some shit. Something scary. Like. I gotta come like way left field. Because I gotta snap out of it. Like, it's gotta be something that snaps me out of that shit. Yo, listen.
No, I'm just gonna
listen. When you deep in the woods, bro, you gotta do what you gotta do to survive, right?
Holy fucking shit! Evil just said to not achieve orgasm. Evil imagines himself falling.
I gotta imagine like myself getting into a car accident or some shit. Something just real like dramatic. Like something because like it takes that much of a thought to like snap me out of such it takes that kind of a thought to snap me out of such a euphoric feeling.
Yeah.
Like it really has to be like an opposite end of the spectrum type of situation. And so that's where I got to go, but to say that when I was younger, I may have been guilty of that. Mm-hmm. But, once I kind of like got into the path of like really, being in tune with the person that I'm with and connecting them like that, that, I don't know.
I've definitely done it. I've imagined other people, not in our current marriage. I've done it previous.
Yeah. I mean, like I said,
it was me imagining you.
Oh, shit. Damn. Sorry, fellas.
Yeah,
I know who y'all are out there, but sorry.
Well, listen, I was in a position in my life where I wasn't looking to be in a long-term relationship, so I was having casual sex, so there was no really really emotional ties to these men that I would consider that if they knew about it, it would hurt their feelings type shit.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah. I can say the same thing where when I was younger and I was kind of casually dating, there may have been a girl that I had a really good time with and another girl that I was just kind of, wasn't that great of a time. So, so I might imagine the other one that I was having a really, that I would have a really good time with to kind of make that experience a little bit better. But yeah, once, the monogamy set in and I was really focused on that, all that stuff is just a distraction to that goal for me. Yeah. So
that makes me think about something else that I'm gonna maybe we'll talk about that another time. I'm gonna bring it up to you. It just sparked something in my brain right now. So yeah, I definitely think that could be a problem. Men keeping that period. I don't know if it's a problem. I think on both ends. I think it's a problem for their marriage, and I think it's a problem for the man, because now he's probably struggling with a lack of desire for his partner in some facet.
Yeah, something,
something's going
missing.
on.
Yeah, something's missing. There's been a disconnect of some sort throughout the relationship. Communication is key. I think that's a big part of our success in our relationship, and how we've been able to get to where we are now and really understand each other is the communication.
It's hard at times.
It is hard at times. I think that I'm fortunate to have a person like yourself who is very open about the way that they feel, and if I'm doing something that you don't like or you're not feeling, you let me know, know, and you're very helpful in guiding me through what it is that pleases you, so that we can be better connected. And I think that that's very important. I think that women should try to speak up more, and find their place in their relationship where there is a safe place for them to say what it is that they want to say, because I know it's not like that for all women in all relationships. A lot of women are, as you've mentioned before in other shows, that women are afraid to speak up in relationships.
Yeah. So I kind of just want to stop you right there. For you to say women should, I think you want to tread lightly when you say something like that. Because it's just not that easy. If they're in a situation, if a woman's in a situation where the relationship is not healthy, it's just not that easy for you to say she should just speak up more. No,
but you missed the second part of that. I said she should try to find a safe place in their relationship where she's able to do that. I didn't say she should just come out and do it.
Yeah.
You have to find your position in your in your relationship. I mean, I would hate that, I know that there are relationships that exist where a woman's voice just has no power whatsoever. And I think that that's very sad, and unfortunate that type of dynamics exists where, somebody has so much power over the relationship where the other person has no voice. And I think that there's a lot of work that needs to be done there to even come close to getting to a point where you can have a safe place to speak up.
Correct.
But for the women that do have some type of voice when it comes to physical pleasure and sex and, really getting to know each other and understand each other, to not end up in a place where your partner is imagining someone else, I think that communication is very important on pleasing each other. I think that, for example, so let's take an example. Let's say a man is imagining sleeping with another woman while he's having sex with his wife. But we were saying before that something happened in there. So there's something missing.
Yeah, right? But I don't think it's on the woman's part. I think it's on the man's part. Maybe the man should fucking speak up and talk about what it is that he feels like is missing.
No, I agree.
Because obviously if he's keeping it secret, because I'll be honest with you, Eva, I'm having a hard time swallowing what you're saying, because it sounds like you're like, you started off by saying that, you felt like you and I together sexually have a very healthy sexual relationship because of the communication that we have. But then you went on to say that, women should have the platform to speak up more. But you're kind of now putting this topic on the women speaking up more, and then
there's a reason why
how men then like connecting that to men fantasizing about other women.
Okay. The reason why I'm saying this is because me bringing up our situation obviously is because we have a dynamic where we can equally speak up to each other and tell each other how we feel. And I think that just pointing that out as if like that's just a great and easy attainable thing is not right, because a lot of relationships, don't have that dynamic, and a lot of the times it falls where it's in the dynamic where the woman doesn't have the capability to. Okay. So that's why I was just shedding light in a situation where, women should try to find the space to say to speak up a bit. That's it. I mean, I know that I'm not saying that men, are perfect, or that they, that maybe they didn't say something about themselves. Mm-hmm. But I feel like that if they wanted to, they could, and they just would. Okay. Where in the other case, if a woman wanted to, she may be reluctant to and just stay silent about it.
All right, so I'm going to push back on you a little bit in this. So if the dynamic is that the woman doesn't necessarily have a voice and that she should seek a safe place, then maybe the husband should be the one that is actually creating the safe space, and he should be looking at it like, my wife actually isn't saying a lot about this particular section of our life. So am I not creating safe spaces for her and I to have these type of conversations? Because if you're saying that the woman should look for the safe space, maybe the man should also be creating the safe space.
If the husband, if the dynamic in the relationship is the type of dynamic where the woman doesn't really have a voice, then obviously the man is not too concerned about what she has to say. So you're saying that the man should all of a sudden express some type of concern or start wondering, well, what's going on with my wife? Why is it that, I'm not feeling pleasure? And that dynamic primarily exists because of the lack of interest that a man would show to a woman. So I'm finding it a little confusing that you're saying, well, maybe the man should, create this space. That's why
what you're saying I'm finding very confusing, because you want the woman to create a space where she's already having difficulty with the man even listening to her.
I'm saying this because at some point in our relationship, I was the overpowering one. At some point in our relationship, I was the one. This is something that, that I've mentioned before on our show. I used to be very hot-headed, and I used to just, I used to snap a lot and have a hot temper, and I used to be not easy to speak to. And you like to speak a lot. You like communication. You like to have an understanding. You like to work things out verbally, and you made sure that you push for that space. You carved that lane in our relationship. You did that. So that didn't exist, and I didn't have an interest in it being part of our relationship, but you showed me how important it was. Okay. You know what I mean? And it changed me. But had you not taken that first initiative, and it wasn't an easy one. I mean, you fought tooth and nail for many years to kind of like, carve that path in our relationship. I don't want to just say that this is something that, you do in a flip of a switch. You worked at it very hard for a long time. And I came to realize that, that's not the best way to communicate, and it, and I understood that and respected your feelings about it and reflected upon myself and realized that needed to change.
Yeah. So I guess I can understand where you're coming in that regard, but I also think that when it comes to something like that, the ball really needs to be in the man's court. If he's the one fantasizing about someone else, it should not be about the woman creating a safe space. It should really be about the man really tackling his feelings and trying to understand why the fuck he's feeling like that to begin with. Because if there's lack of conversation, he's part of the problem,
Listen, I get what you're saying, and I'm sure we can go back and forth on this because it seems that,
Well, that's what we do. It's drinks with a splash of controversy. We ain't got no fucking drinks.
We drinking, right? We drinking. This is life right here, right? Without water, there's no life, right? This is the best thing you can drink on the planet, all right? Don't get it twisted.
Let's roll into something that's a little less heated.
Oh, I got heat.
You got heat?
I got heat.
There is something that women will do that they will keep secret from their husbands that I find so laughable, but I've done it.
Oh, shit. Oh, man.
Wives will keep secret shows that they're supposed to be watching with their husband. They'll watch them without them.
Oh, shit. Yeah, you...
So, for example, if a husband and wife are watching fucking, I don't know, Dexter, and it's a show that they're watching together, the wife will go and watch episodes without the husband and then rewatch the episodes with her husband and act like she never watched them.
That's terrible. That's just... Like, why can't you just wait? What, like?
Okay, so I thought about that.
Where's the loyalty in this? I feel disrespected.
Okay,
I am highly offended.
Okay, great.
This is just not right.
So, I'm gonna explain to you why I feel like this happens. It is actually not the wife's fault completely. Has a lot to do with the way that TV now has been structured.
Oh, it's the TV's fault.
Well, 2 seconds ago, you were saying that the woman should create a safe space. And even though it was the man that was...
We're beyond that now. We're talking about TVs. And you're saying that a woman or a wife watching a TV show without her husband is the TV's fault. I'm trying to wrap my head around this.
I'm trying to get to that. Can I get to that?
Yeah, I just couldn't. My ears just couldn't believe what I was hearing. So.
All right. Well, it has a lot to do with the way that TV is now designed. The ability to binge watch something is something that is a new feature per se. I want to say maybe like the last 5 years, you've been able to watch a show. For example, the Ozarks just recently came on and you got all of the episodes on the day that it launched, right? What happens when you receive that type of access to something?
You can either binge it or you can wait to watch it with your partner.
Okay, that's not what I'm asking you, Eva. I'm asking you when
you're asking me what happens. There's two things that happen.
I'm talking about to the person
the
person that is consuming the television show, right?
Yeah.
When they can binge a show, binging is like considered and actually like a bad habit, right? If like you binge eat, you binge drink.
Sure.
It's giving you this instant gratification. So when you are watching a show with your partner that you know is potentially bingeable, which means that you have access to the episodes whenever and however you want. If you're doing that a lot with your partner, what starts to happen is you start to develop almost like an addiction to it. So you are then wanting to seek out the episodes with less regard to your partner because you want that instant gratification.
Okay.
So that's why I'm saying it's not completely the wife's fault. And so just so that we're clear, this is also something that men do, but I'm putting it in the woman's court right now.
Sure.
That is a portion of why that happens. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that the woman doesn't have any control of what she does, but there is that draw to the show or the episode because you can instantly watch it.
Yeah, I just am having a hard time understanding where does the self-control come in all of this.
Oh my God, Evo, are you really right now trying to be funny with me?
I'm just saying because I've never done this.
Okay, but there's so many things that you have done.
We're talking about TV here.
I know.
All right, pump the brakes. Let's stay in our lane.
But that's my point.
Let's stay focused. Stay focused.
Okay,
right?
I'm focused. Let's not throw this. Where's the self-control conversation?
Where's the self-control in watching a TV show with your partner that you started something with together and agree that you were going to do it together?
I don't know, Evo. Maybe she's dealing with the fact that her husband's imagining other women while they're having sex. So she's like, fuck it. I'm going to go watch this episode without him. Maybe that's what's happening.
I mean, but listen, the husband, that's actually, he's displaying self-control by not acting out on his fantasies, right? He's still staying, he's still acting them out. No. He's just, see, that's like a woman thinking about watching the episode, but she's not really watching it, right?
Oh my God.
So, but she still watches the episode together with her husband. So her husband still has sex with her. Even though he's thinking about other women, he's only having sex with her.
Yeah.
So, there's still it's different.
Listen, I've only done it once, and it was one episode that I watched without you.
You've only done it once.
No, I swear to God.
This sounds. You know what this sounds like? This sounds like you know what? It's.
I'm gonna tell you. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna tell you how it is that I fight. I deal with this. Okay. So when you and I are watching a show together, I tend to have a little bit more access to watch shows. I would say that I actually am a little bit more disciplined in how I like schedule out my day. So I like build in time for those type of things where you're a little bit more reactive, where you're just kind of like, I'm going to do this.
Hey, I got time now. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So what tends to happen is sometimes our schedules don't line up. So I will have more time. So what I've been doing when I know that we're watching a show together, but I have that downtime and I want to maybe fill it with something to not to fight the temptation of watching the show that I know that we're both enjoying, I start watching something on my own that doesn't involve you. And like I'm currently doing that right now. And I'm going to tell you the one time that I did it. It was that one time in the season of Game of Thrones where that episode got leaked. When it was the episode where Jon Snow goes to fight the White Walkers, and the lead White Walker, the king of the White Walkers, he takes possession. Spoiler alert if you haven't fucking watched Game of Thrones by now, because it's only been out like for more than a decade. He takes possession of her youngest or her smallest dragon, and that episode accidentally got leaked by HBO.
And so you watched this episode because you couldn't wait to watch it, because you found out it got leaked and you wanted to watch it ahead of time.
Yes.
Because you wanted to take advantage of the leak. Was that what happened?
That's exactly. Listen, I was, oh my God, when I found out that it got leaked, I was like, yo, real talk. I'm gonna watch this shit and then I'm just gonna watch it again with Evo. Fuck it. And that's what I did.
You know, I want to thank you for admitting that. And
Evil's about to be
I just want you to know that you delivered yourself into a coffin just now. Because I can tell you for certain that there's been other times that you've watched episodes without me.
Really?
Yes, 100%.
What other episodes?
You have watched episodes.
Of what show?
And I'm guilty of this too, all right? So I don't think that this is just you.
Okay, but I'm a little nervous right now because I'm telling
I can't tell you what show it is. I just know that it's happened and why it happens, and I'm gonna tell you why it happens.
What?
So yes.
No, there's no way.
Yes, 100% where you're gonna agree with me once I tell you this, right?
Oh shit! I don't even know my own secrets anymore.
Yeah, you don't. So, ladies and gentlemen, right? And I would like to think that this happens across all relationships, right? So when you're watching a show with your significant other, and something happens where you get into a fight, and the show comes on, and you're arguing.
Oh, you're saying that the partner goes and watch it.
The partner will go and watch the show. You're arguing, you know, and you're not speaking. You're not speaking, and sometimes, you know, like we've been in, you know, there's been sometimes we'll go a day or two without talking to each other, just depending on the severity of the argument. And
Evo, you know what? If I've done that, honestly, I do not remember.
I remember.
Really?
Yeah, of course I do.
Are you saying that you've known that I've done it?
I know. I'm saying that once we end up resolving the issue. You know, obviously we missed an episode, so the conversation will come up, like, hey, we didn't watch that episode. You're like, oh, I already watched it.
Okay, I feel like those circumstances. So the reason why I don't recall that, and I'll be 100% honest, is because to me the circumstances are different. Because if we're arguing, the deal is off.
I knew it.
So I go into it.
All contracts are broken.
So I go into it with a mindset that I'm not keeping anything a secret. You know you in hot water right now.
Oh, man.
So I'm going to just go and watch this episode and I'm going to get my instant gratification.
That's exactly what it is.
But the only time that I ever watch it where I feel like
I'm watching this damn episode.
The only time that I've ever watched something where I know we were like, there was no fight happening was that one episode of Game of Thrones.
All right, well.
I had to.
Now I know.
Now you know?
Now I know.
And you know what's so funny about that? When we rewatch Game of Thrones, I refused to watch that episode. I was so traumatized by the episode. So, like, that's karma at its finest. I'm traumatized by that episode. Did you remember I couldn't watch it?
Not in particular, no. I do remember when they did leak the episode. And I remember you telling me, I remember you watching it without me. And because it was... I wasn't available.
No. We watched it together. Trust me, I remember this very vividly.
No, but I remember you telling me that you watched the episode.
No.
Yeah.
Did I?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, listen. At least I come clean, bro.
Yeah, you did. You told me about that. You were like, I watched it. I watched it because it was like,
No, but what I'm saying is
it came out that everybody, like, it's almost like you didn't want to be left behind. Like you wanted to be like,
yeah, like right now I'm fucking staying off of social media because I'm dying to go see Batman and my schedule won't allow it.
You didn't want to potentially speak to someone and not have watched the episode.
Oh God, yeah, because that was when people were like deep in Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Yeah, that's when that shit came on every Sunday. So like, if
and you geek hard on these things, so like you needed. There was I understand this about you, right? So I understood that like if you would have spoke to someone and you didn't know about it, that shit would have killed you. So whatever, it's fine.
Yo,
but the fact that you were like, it's only happened once, I was like,
oh yeah. Well, listen, I'm guilty but not guilty in that regard. So tell me something else that men keep secret.
Man, you got some light ones, man. I want like.
Oh no, you went. Okay, but listen, but this was the way that this conversation was supposed to go. I told you that I did not want him to look at my did. Items. I didn't. Some of the ones that were kind of deep, I was just like, to me those are like, they're beyond the secret. There's something there that's like really deep rooted, and I didn't want to go into that. But just tell me, it's fine. Let's do it.
I'm deep in the woods, man.
Okay.
I'm deep in the woods. All right. So, so one thing that men will keep secret from their wives is wearing women's underwears.
Okay. See, now for me, when you tell me that,
now I'm talking about heterosexual men wearing women's underwears and keeping this secret from their wives, like it's part of their lives.
Okay, I feel like to me that goes like beyond the secret. That's the thing. It's obviously being kept secret, Evo, but there's something brewing there.
Yes, of course there's something brewing there. I mean, I think
even though I love men's underwear,
there's something brewing in all of the ones that I said, except for the car part ones. I mean, if you go back to what we said earlier about fantasizing about another woman, there's a portion of it where if you're fantasizing about your wife's sister, there's a problem there.
Yeah.
And so there was some other, there was light ones that I was, but I just felt like that, I
actually just listened to a podcast about a yoga guru that was part of like his journey into
wearing women's underwear.
No, he actually committed some serious crimes. He was it's a podcast that I listened to called Crimes of Passion, and it was their little yoga section. It was like some crazy stories, and what wound up happening was he fell in love with a woman, and through the relationship became very like almost symbiotic with her, where he started to dress more like the way women dress, and even putting on like their underwears, and that just became part of like who he was. So I maybe I want to take back what I said. I'm not saying that there's a problem, but there's definitely an aspect of that man's life that he is not tapping into, and he's definitely like resisting it somewhat.
So funny thing, right?
Not resisting, he's burying it.
I want to take that back. Not funny thing. Interesting thing is
Thank you, because I always it better be fucking funny.
Yeah, and it's not funny, but it is very interesting, because when you think about it, initially when you think about a man wearing a woman's underwears, anybody who's homophobic or doesn't see that in a positive way is going to be like opposed to it and think negatively about it, right?
Yeah.
But what I found and what I saw was, at some point, obviously clothing that we wear are things that are instilled in our lives as boundaries. You're raised, you must wear girls' clothing. These are your boundaries. You must wear men's clothing. These are your boundaries. And for someone who is outside of those boundaries, at some point in their life, they were able to explore things of interest that boundaries had not been created yet. And so, in their own boundary was created on their own, and it was a self-exploration of that person, and it became part of their life. And so I see that as a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's great that that person was not, at that point in their life, wasn't set into like this mold of like, this is who you're to be, and they would never have the chance to really explore.
They breaking those gender norms.
Yeah, for sure. And I found that heterosexual men who wear women's underwear are more in tune with their wives and what their wives' needs are.
Oh shit.
Yes. Because of their ability to step outside of the normal boundaries.
That is a very interesting, to say the least. I would have never made those two connections.
Yes, they're very typically more fashion forward. Very aware of what they're wearing and what they look like and how things feel, and are very open and sensitive to other genders and sexualities.
That's awesome. You know what my immediate thought when you said that, I was like, that's probably the relationship where the wife doesn't have to hide the clothing that she buys.
Yeah.
Because a husband will just be completely understanding as to what it is that she may need for her body.
Yes.
The other thing that I wanted to add that I didn't add, there is a significant reason why women tend to buy more clothing than men, and I kind of left this out, and you just reminded me of it. Women's bodies go through different changes than men do. So there is a portion of our life where we may experience childbirth more than once.
Yeah.
So we go through the portion of our life where we are pregnant, we're not pregnant, we're dealing with the weight after pregnancy, which then will change the type of clothing that we need to wear, where men don't necessarily have to deal with the fluctuation of their weight and or the changes of their body afterwards. That was something that I left out that I just wanted to add.
Yeah.
And I wanted to add it because I want to say that you are very, I don't want to use the word sensitive because it doesn't feel right to me to say sensitive, but you are just very open and understanding when it comes to my needs as far as my appearance. Even to,
I try to be,
yeah. You have put even more effort into it over the years. I think because as we've gotten older, we've obviously changed, you know, and our focuses have shifted. But even things like you paying for my nails to be done, but you offering to pay for it because you literally said to me, I know that you like to have your nails look nice when you're out working because you know it's important for your hair. That means so much to me, more than you paying for it. It's the observation of how I like to have my appearance.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So I think it's beautiful to know that a man, even though those two again to put together is, I don't think many people would put that together, that a man who wears women underwears would be more understanding of a woman's needs when it comes to what goes on her body.
Absolutely not. No, I mean, because there's a sense of exploration into the femininity that goes along with wearing, you know, a woman. I mean, obviously they're women's underwears, you know, and they're seen as such. But even more beautiful, right? Which when I found this out, I was like, wow. I just thinking about it kind of blew my mind, was men that are actually able to reveal this to their wives and their wives be supportive of it.
Oh, wow.
And understanding of it. And how that dynamic works, you know?
Yeah.
Sounds amazing. You know, for somebody to be able to liberate themselves like that, a heterosexual man who wears women's underwear, so who's very in tune with women and femininity, to be able to be understood by his wife. In that aspect, and really kind of like grow closer together.
Yeah, I think any time that happens in a relationship where there is something that one of the partners is concealing out of potential fear and being ridiculed or being shamed for it, and they can come out to their partner and say, hey, this is something about me that I've been concealing in fear of, and then the partner is accepting. Yeah, that's always a fucking beautiful thing.
And I also learned that you know, that there's a huge difference between a heterosexual man wearing women's underwear and like completely cross-dressing. You know, so there is I don't want people to confuse those two. Yes, you know that he wears women's underwear, he's a cross-dresser. No, those are two totally different things that merit their own respect. Yeah.
So we have like a couple minutes left. I actually have a couple more that I would like to share, but maybe we could build that into part 2 of our conversation.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if you want to do one more, we could do one more. To kind of like wrap it up. Oh, actually, well, we are really like down to the wire.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that we may make a part 2 of this because Evo, I feel like you still have some really great ones to talk about.
I might have to restructure that because I got the last one I'm looking at. That's just deep.
Yeah. I actually there's one additional one that I think that I want to talk about because it goes into an aspect of marriage that I think people would be interested to know about, and it kind of dips its toe in sex.
Sounds good.
So maybe we'll do a part 2.
Yeah,
Part 2.
Let's do it.
Next Friday. I want to thank everybody for joining us, whether you are watching, whether you are listening. However you like to consume our content is greatly appreciated. The only thing that we ask of you is you hit a button. I don't know what that button is, whether it is subscribe, whether it is follow, whether it is like, whether it is the donate button, which is Evo's favorite button, right?
The best nation of all, the donation.
We would hope that you could do that for us, because then it will continue to allow us to create content and put us out there for other people to see us and hear us. And we would love nothing more than that. But until next Friday, ladies and gentlemen,
peace out.
Peace out.